Margaret Schlachter here from Mud Run Guide. I am with Mark Ballas from Green Beret Challenge. Mark, thanks so much for being here and talking about Green Beret Challenge.
Thanks for the invite, Margaret. Happy to be here.
And you guys have been around for a while. You've been around since 2012, I believe. You did your first event, slowly kind of incrementally growing over the years with your events. So can you talk a little bit about like how you got to Green Beret Challenge? Like what was your kind of genesis for starting this? Because you started out as a team-based challenge, right?
Yeah, sure thing. Dating back to 2012, I was kind of watching the trends of the industry with Tough Mudder and Spartan, Warrior Dash coming on board, and I'd had an idea, but I didn't know how to introduce the idea. So looking at the industry, those three companies kind of gave me the segue to bring the team challenge into the industry. I mean, same audience, slightly little different application. So 2012, we launched the first two races, North Carolina and Georgia. It was more proof of concept than anything. I think we had great success. 2013, it was kind of rebranding, rethinking, partner in, partner out type deal. Weren't sure what we were going to do. And then I would say the latter part of 2014, we really started to ramp it up and be consistent with our team event. Out of the gate, it was difficult. We had challenges with the difficulty for sure, but the challenges with people didn't understand a four-person team event. Nobody had done it before. So there was a marketing challenge for people to understand when they registered, you're bringing three other people with you to endorse some of this insanity. So that, I think we passed that obstacle, but it's definitely a challenge on the onset.
Yeah, so since then, you guys just had an event in Texas recently. That was an individual event. So can you talk about how you kind of went from that team concept that seems like in the last few years you've really kind of dialed in to offering a team or offering an individual event, and kind of who and how you kind of geared that, created that event?
Right. In the back of my mind, as we were watching the evolution of the team event, we also saw that, we need to get an individual event here, maybe scale it back a little bit, not so difficult, so we can attract, obviously, a bigger market. So that was really the focal point, was an individual event, yes, to add to our base of events, but be able to create something that, everybody could come out and do. You and I have talked about our tagline, it's not for everyone, so the operator course needs to be for everyone. So it's challenging. You see some of the endurance challenges we do in our team event, but they're scaled down for individuals, so we still have that little GBC flavor in there, but it is toned down for a broader audience.
So it's almost like it's turning into, and a little bit almost like a feeder for, because your team challenges, they're grueling. They're pretty grueling. Yeah. They're unlike almost anything else that's out there right now, because you're bringing in your experience and experiences. I believe you've brought in like first responder experience, stuff like that, into your urban event you did, you've done before, but this individual one seems like it's kind of that first step to get to your team event.
That's a great way of putting it. So yes, if you look at the order of magnitude, we start out with the individual event. It kind of gets people introduced to the Green Beret Challenge. They'll see some of the things on the individual event they'll see on a team event, just in a much more grueling and longer distance format. So that's a great way of putting it. The feeder event to the team event, and then from there, hopefully capture them into our 24-hour experience.
Yeah, and your new individual event is also, it's a challenge for people, but it's also a race. So you're a qualifier for the OCR World Championships and the U.S. OCR Championships as well. So you have that. So if you're a super competitive, I know you just had Robert Killian just came out and won your event recently. But then at the same time, like if I'm just I sign up for a few races a year, I can still do your individual event, right?
No doubt. I mean, we had all athletic levels out there. Some people did it really fast, some people took their time, and you see that with all the events. And it was a great mix of people that I don't think we've had before. So that was really cool.
Cool. And then, so now you're adding as well a little bit later on this year, you've got a 24-hour event coming up too. So is that, can you tell us a little bit about that? Is that team, individual, is it building off of your team? Like what is this 24-hour event thing you have coming up?
The format is endurance, but in our minds, there should be a takeaway. So when you leave the 24-hour event, you should walk away with some new life skills. And we have 3 different versions of the 24-hour event. Not to give all the secrets away, but one's based on survival, one's based on kind of urban operations. We're doing these little mini special ops missions. And then the other one's more of a woodland type thing, still doing missions, but you're kind of in a more remote area. So 3 different offerings, totally about endurance, but you're going to learn some things. And it's not about breaking everybody off. I can create an event and break anybody off I want to, but what's the purpose? I mean, who's really gaining from that? There's nothing there to gain. So we would rather challenge you a little bit in the beginning of the 24-hour challenge, teach you a little bit, and then culminate into the last phase where you're actually applying everything you learned, but still have that endurance flavor.
Cool. So it's a little bit almost, maybe I'm off here. I get my military pieces mixed up, but it almost sounds a little bit like you're trying to infuse like some seer type element into that 24-hour. Is that, I'm totally not totally civilian, so totally just trying to pull pieces from what I've heard or whatnot.
We won't use that word.
Okay.
Let's go with Green Beret for a day experience.
Okay, Green Beret for a day experience, which leads me perfectly into, because you were a Green Beret, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about your experience, in the military that you can talk about or whatnot, and kind of how that's kind of shaped how you look at how you put on your events now? Sure.
I spent 10 years in special operations, both as an Army Ranger and Green Beret. And really the formation of our team event dates back to Special Forces assessment and selection. So all those team events that I make other people do, I had to live it at a much more grueling fashion. So it's not like Mark woke up one day, hey, I think I got this crazy idea, I'm going to make people, really suffer. I went through it, I experienced it. I think that's one of our differentiating factors, that Matt and I lived what we deliver. Mm-hmm. So we know exactly, we can predict the outcome because we lived it. And I think that makes for a really unique experience, both from the execution standpoint from the company, as well as watching the participants go through it. So I think those years in the special ops community really kind of shaped and defined our ability to deliver a unique event. Cool, yeah. And I want to kind of know, too, is because there's so many different offerings out there of different race series, event series within this kind of obstacle racing world. So what differentiates you guys from, I'm not going to say any other names, but what kind of is your differentiating factor, do you think? I guess I'll first go with your individual event, since that's the one that kind of has the broadest mass appeal. We use these logs. They're like I'm building a log home. And I don't know if I've ever seen a race that uses logs like throughout the entire course. So they're sturdy. They have that rugged military look. It's the branding. It's the appearance. When you run into one of these walls, you're going to bounce off of it. It's so stout. So I think that the appearance and the branding perspective on how we build the course, some of the unique designs we've come up with recently, and then still having those mini endurance challenges of the yoke carries and the sled drags and things that no one's ever put on a race course before, that you will see in the team event, which is a totally differentiating factor of, push, pull, carry versus man-made obstacles, climb, crawl, and things of that nature. So I think those two additives of the endurance challenges, the way we build the race course, and then ultimately the 24-hour experience, a little glimpse, a little peek into, what Matt and I went through as Green Berets and Army Rangers, I think it's kind of cool. Cool. Yeah, and so I guess this is always hard to ask a race director or a race owner, but what do you think is your favorite obstacle that you have on the course? Wow. Everyone? No. For the team challenge, watching the evolution of that thing, it's got to be the yoke carry. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you take a landscaping timber with sandbags hanging off of it about 90 to 100 pounds, and you're walking for half mile to a mile, or for the team event, we had joined all of them together and you're walking as a team, and it's kind of funny to watch the whole team struggle with the whole thing, but that's got to be one of my favorite. And then as far as the obstacles, we're still developing some new things. What we did in Texas, we did a half Weaver to an incline rope traverse. I don't know if that's ever been done before. So they thought they were doing the Weaver, and then they got to the rope traverse, and then it was, kind of up on an angle. So that was kind of cool. I got some cool things planned for Guardian Center, maybe traversing off the rooftops. Depends if we can do it safely. But there's a lot of water there, so it'll be really cool for those things. But I have a couple other tricks up my sleeve for Georgia. We'll be showcasing here in April.
Yeah, well, great. That leads me into, so what are the next events that you guys have coming up, and where can we kind of look for you guys to be next?
April 15th, Guardian Center is the awesome venue in Central Georgia. I think the only people who've used it is Zombie and ourselves. Okay. So it's a mix of urban structures, a disaster preparedness training center. The military uses it. Zombie, we use it. So you have a unique flavor of the urban structures, but you still have water and woods and all that stuff. So we'll tie that all together. 3 weeks later, we're in Perry, Florida, another urban rural environment owned by a buddy of mine. That's May 6th. And 24-hour challenge in Georgia, June 30th. And back in Texas, July 22nd for a 24-hour. And we're working on our fall and winter schedule now. But we'll be in the Midwest, which, I'm glad we brought that up. Some good news today. I can't get into details yet because we haven't signed the paperwork. But it looks like the GBC will have a pretty strong footprint in the Midwest from the latter part of this year moving forward.
Excellent. Well, it's good to hear. And it's, I have to say, as someone that has I met you back in 2012, and to kind of see the evolution of the Green Beret Challenge, it's been great to kind of see how you guys have, evolved, kind of found out who you are. And now I love that you're offering the individual event for those that are maybe like, oh, I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a good move for us. I wasn't sure I wanted to get into OCR-centric events, but now we've gotten our feet wet. We've done a couple events. We understand what we're doing. We're pretty excited about doing a lot more of them.
Excellent. Well, everybody, check out Green Beret Challenge and check out the article that's attached to this. If you're watching it on YouTube, check out the link below me or below us. And then if you're watching it on Facebook, check out the link up above. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mark, so much. This has been awesome.
Thanks, Margaret.